You are a dirty whore.
I feel like we should just get into this because it's going to be a long video. Got my tea. I'm not even going to do the pleasantries of introducing myself. I just need to get this whole situation off of my chest. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen by the title where it's about, unless you're inept. That was rude. We're here for a common goal, common purpose. Either get more informed or to really understand and put it out in a timeline format this huge scandal that has absolutely taken control of my life. I know that sounds dramatic and I'm a very dramatic person, but it is what it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. A very interesting hobby of mine growing up was making really niche and specific PowerPoint presentations. A bit neurotic of me, actually. It has come in handy today. I have done a timeline PowerPoint presentation on the Scandoval drama so that if you are not informed of this situation, you can become informed, and if you are aware of the situation, you can now just join along for the ride. Got my notes, got the PowerPoint, so we're ready to go. We'll begin with part one, the origins of Vanderpump Rules. So we begin our story with Lisa Vanderpump herself. She is the executive producer and a former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star. She was there from 2010 to 2019. Besides her being a star of Real Housewives, she also is a very successful businesswoman. She has over 30 restaurants across the UK and the US, including the one we will be discussing today, SUR. It stands for Sexy Unique Restaurant. Not a name I would call it in 2023, but that's fine. What starts off the drama in Vanderpump Rules is there is a crossover between Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and what is to become the pilot of Vanderpump Rules. So Brandi Glanville, another former star of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, is having an altercation with Sheena Shea. Sheena works at SUR as a waitress and hostess, and she has been having an affair with Brandi Glanville's husband. Yikes. You do not want to get in the crossfire of Brandi Glanville, and that's kind of what happened. To this day, Sheena remains that she did not know that he was a married man. That's not for me to discuss, or for you, it's over a decade ago, so we move on. If it wasn't for Sheena, we wouldn't have the original drama for the pilot of Vanderpump Rules. Thank you, Sheena. Executive producer Lisa Vanderpump decided that she wanted to create a spin-off from Real Housewives with SUR because all of the staff and waitresses and hostesses and bartenders working at SUR are all real-life best friends. They all have a really tight-knit, close friendship group. You know the kind of like incestual friendship groups you would see at school? Like bunch of boys and girls mixing together. One week they'd be dating so-and-so, and the next week he's dating like another one in the group. It's very ancestral and a bit weird, but they're all best friends at the end of the day. They fight badly, but at the end of the day, they're best friends. So obviously that's why it was a very compelling angle to take, and Lisa Vanderpump is a very smart woman because of it. Before we go any further, I thought I would just run through the main cast. So from left to right, we have Lala, Stacey. I just called Stacy Stacey. I just disrespected the queen. Kristen, Tom Sandoval, Ariana, Tom Schwartz, Sheena, Katie, Jax, Brittany, and DJ James Kennedy. So to really understand the dynamics, you do need to understand the couples of Vanderpump Rules. So we'll start with one of the first couples, one of the founding relationships of the show, which was Sandoval and Kristen. I will be referring to the Toms as Sandoval and Schwartz because it is far too hard to keep up with the two Toms, okay? Sandoval, one of our first players of Scandoval. So we have Tom Sandoval and Kristen Doty. They invented toxic couple. They were so wrong for each other. Both gaslighting, both manipulative. A lot of cheating went on in this relationship, and they were together for far too long. I think it was like a 6-year relationship in the end. In current present day, Kristen thinks they should never have been past the 2-year mark, so that's quite a funny thing to say. Just batshit crazy couple. Kristen in particular got a lot of flack in the early seasons and still up to this day because of her erratic behavior, especially within this relationship. I think narrative has changed considering what we now know about Scandoval, which I will get into. Second couple, Sandoval and Ariana. Ariana was another waitress and bartender of SUR. She came on board having worked at one of the previous restaurants that Lisa owned. Unfortunately, they did become a couple out of a cheating scandal. He did cheat on Kristen, his last girlfriend, with Ariana. However, they did go on to have a over 9-year relationship, and they have been key characters in Vanderpump Rules, especially a relationship for the past 10 seasons. Ariana's character throughout the course of the show, and is recognized really early, is that she is the most mellow, calm, cool, collected character of the group. I think that's one of the reasons why her and Tom were together for so long was because he was always looking for a cool girl.
Okay.
But Ariana, she is I think one of the sweetest members of this cast, and they have done some pretty dark shit to each other this entire show run. So yeah, Scandoval and Ariana, they have a 9+ year relationship, they have dogs together, and they've bought a house together. Like, this is a life partnership, okay? Anyway, on to the next one. We have James Kennedy and Kristen Doty. So, we have Kristen to thank, and I want all of you to thank Kristen for making sure that James came on board. Whether he put himself in that situation or not, who cares? This show would not be half of what it is without this character right here. Looking back on it, this is the most chaotic couple. I know I said that about Sandal and Kristen, but they were together for 6 years, and it was just a lot of mess. These two, it's like you plucked them out of the crowd and put them together. Like, I don't understand a lick of what was... They just should never have been a thing. They should never have been a thing. Yes, it feels like a fever dream. He probably just wanted to go on the show. She was happy to make Tom Sandoval jealous, so I guess it was a mutually beneficial agreement, and yes, it ended in the most toxic way possible.
Oh,
James, get the out of my face now!
I digress, let's move on. Now we have the third and final player of Scandoval, which is Raquel Levis. Raquel started off as being James Kennedy's girlfriend on the show. They were together around 5 years, I believe, and they also got engaged on the show. They have a dog, they got engaged. As of 2021, they ended their engagement. What we found out about Raquel early is that she is a pageant girl, so she was doing pageants for up until the current season. She is known for her shaky voice and lifeless eyes. Honestly, between the two of them, he completely carried when it comes to personality wise. She was always seen as like the sweet, maybe a bit doe-eyed, bit clueless character, and he was the extroverted, unpredictable. He brought all the personality, is what I'm trying to say. Now this takes a bit of a sad turn because we have the couple of Tom Schwartz and Katie Maloney. They were together before the first episode of Vanderpump Rules, and they were together for 12 years, got engaged, they got married on the show. They were married for 6 years, but in February of 2022, Katie asked for a divorce from Tom. As we've seen in this current season, season 10, they are trying to remain good friends. They have dual custody of their dogs, which that sounds difficult and hard. The one condition they have both agreed on, if they want to try and remain friends for the sake of their dogs, for the sake of their friends, is that they will not hook up with people within the friend group. Did you feel the foreshadowing in my eyes? Okay. Just to go into more details of this relationship, Katie is definitely more like the deadpan Capricorn boss woman of the relationships, and Schwartz was the sociable Libra who didn't want to have any responsibilities and would defend everyone else over his wife. It was actually incredibly hard to watch. Honestly, watching back clips of Schwartz, he doesn't get into many fights, he doesn't get into many arguments, but when he does, it's always with either his wife, now ex-wife, or another woman on the show. Coincidence? Previous to the past season, I was always kind of rooting for Schwartz and Katie. I guess I kind of felt similar to Katie, hoping that one day he would just choose her, end up choosing her over everyone, and he just could never do it. It's just really, really hard to watch scenes with the both of them when he literally defends everyone else over her. Anyway, let's move on to the honorable mentions. So we have Lala and James, my favorite personal duo in Vanderpump Rules. They once hooked up, or twice hooked up actually. Their energy bounced off each other really well, and when I mean energy, I mean chaotic energy. They can have shouting matches and arguments till the day is done. Are really, really good at that, and if the reunion has showed us anything, they've showed us that. But they also fight like siblings. They could go ham on each other if they wanted to as well, but as of right now, they are on the same side of history, which is great. We love to see it. I personally do. Ugh. The Toms. The fucking Toms. These two are like, not just best friends, like honestly, they are like blood brothers. These two honestly make me a little bit sick, so like bear with me for a second. The two Toms have always had each other's back. They have rooted for each other harder than they have ridden for anyone else. They are so loyal to each other, more loyal than their significant others. The only person Sandoval is more loyal to than Schwartz is himself. I want you to remember that. If only that would start clicking with Schwartz, that would be great. They both have a 5% cut in the bar and restaurant called Tom Tom, which is also owned by Lisa Vanderpump. And they also opened their new bar, Schwartz and Sandy's. This is a premature RIP because I don't know how they're doing. I hope the staff are okay. and I hope the other owners are okay, but Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Then we have the girlies. We have Katie and Ariana. They are the partners of the Toms. I call them part-time babysitters as well because the maturity that these two women have had to hold to make up for another person is incredible. They are also business partners. They are opening their own sandwich shop mid this year, August-ish, apparently. They're thriving. I love this duo. Can't wait to see more of them. We'll be supporting them. Okay? I'll now briefly address the female friendships on the show as of season 10, which started airing in February of this year. As we began this current season, we had Sheena and Raquel, besties. Ariana, Raquel, besties. Katie and Lala, besties. We have Katie and Ariana, really good friends. They're also business partners. We have animosity between Sheena and Katie because Sheena has been trying to get the newly divorced Schwartz, aka Katie's ex-husband, to hook up with Raquel, who is also now recently broken up with her ex-fiance, James Kennedy. So you can see why there would be tension if one of your friends is trying to get your other friend to hook up with your ex-husband. It's not a good look. Obviously, because of that, the relationship between Raquel and Katie becomes strained because why would you want to pursue a friendship with someone who is going to try and get after your ex-husband? Remember, that was the one precedent in them maintaining a friendship after divorce, was that they could not hook up within the friend group. So, tensions are high. The last one I'll mention is Lala and Raquel. Now Lala, has my heart. But Lala has never ever liked Raquel. She calls her a bandy-eyed bitch. She thinks there is nothing behind her eyes. She thinks she's a bit clueless, dumb.
Dummy before my dad.
All of the above, which are really nasty things to say to someone. Like, I wouldn't say them personally. It's like incredible foreshadowing for what we later see happen with Scandoval. Just wanted to say Lala knew from the beginning, okay? Part 2, the reckoning. So, as of season 10, we had Schwartz and Katie divorced. Sheena is encouraging Raquel to hook up with the newly divorced Schwartz. Now Katie and Sheena are at odds. They're not friends because why are you trying to get my ex-husband to hook up with someone in the friend group? Not a good look. At the start of season 10, Schwartz and Sandy still had not opened, and something about her, the sandwich shop between Ariana and Katie, is quickly approaching. Sheena is getting married to Brock this season, and Sandoval continues to live out his rockstar fantasy with his paid cover band, Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras. Yes, you heard me right. He pays a cover band to perform with him. No original music, just covers, which is fine. It's just, it would help if he was good. That's all I'll say. James has a new girlfriend, Allie. I personally love Allie. She is an astrology queen, and so am I. So James, well done. Filming for season 10 began in July of 2022 and ended in, I think, September or October. So on March 1st of this year, Sheena and Raquel went and watched What Happens Live with Auntie Cohen to discuss new episodes of Vanderpump Rules that is now airing, having been filmed last year. At the same time, in another city, aka LA, Ariana Maddox is watching Tom Sandoval in his cover band play at Tom Tom. Just as the performance was ending, a friend of the pair had given Ariana Tom's phone as he had dropped it on stage. She took his phone to hold on to it for him. She now claims that it was some kind of women's intuition that made her run to the bathroom, lock herself in a stall, and go through his phone. This is something that Ariana has said she's never felt like doing in the past. She felt inclined by divine intervention to go through his phone, and thank God she did, because what she found was in his camera roll saved a FaceTime call between Sandoval and her best friend Raquel, what seemed to be an intimate FaceTime exchange, if you catch my drift. Screaming, crying, throwing up. Ariana is distraught. Obviously, her boyfriend of over 9 years and her best friend are having an affair. She obviously goes up to him at Tom Tom, confronts him, and what does he do? He takes her out into the back parking lot so that they can have a more private conversation. Just so we're not confused, I'm going to reiterate the love pentagon from hell so we'll all stay on track. Sandoval was dating Kristen. Kristen and Sandoval cheated on each other with Ariana and James. They went off and had respective relationships with these people. Kristen and James did not last very long at all, whereas Sandoval and Ariana lasted for 9 years. Then on the flip side, when Kristen and James Kennedy broke up, James went on to have a 5-year relationship with Raquel Levis and then get engaged before breaking up in 2021. Now we have a situation where Sandoval has cheated on his partner, his life partner of 9 years, with friend in the group, Ariana's best friend, Raquel Levis, and James's ex-fiance. It's sick. Getting back to the timeline now. Ari has found out, she's confronted Scandoval, they had drifted into the TomTom parking lot. Ariana then calls Raquel and forces her to tell her details of the relationship. Raquel eventually reveals to Ariana that the relationship had been going on for around 6 to 7 months, beginning in summer of last year. Absolutely disgusted and appalled by this revelation, Ariana gets on the call with Sheena instead, and Sheena and Raquel are fine to have voice and presence in the conversation. The timeline does get a bit messy here because Tom's barging in, Sheena's there with Raquel, Raquel's trying to barge in, Ariana doesn't want to talk to Raquel, she wants to talk to Sheena, but Tom's here and she needs to find out details. It's all very messy. What we do know is what is alleged next. What is alleged by Raquel is that Sheena punched her in the face. You heard me right, we have a Sheena round 2. So overcome with vicious anger towards Raquel, she socked her in the eye. Anyone who's watched Vanderpump knows this isn't really Sheena's character. She could scream, she could cry, but actually hitting someone, can't see it, personally. It's really, really hard to imagine. Not that I couldn't, but what happens next is interesting. Sheena has been sent a restraining order from Raquel because of the incident that occurred backstage of Watch What Happens Live. Raquel alleges that Sheena punched in the eye. Regardless, Raquel does claim that some injury did occur, but it doesn't seem, from sources, it doesn't seem that it was that bad, noticeable, or even evident on her face. After this, Ariana goes ghost. She deletes her Twitter, she deletes her Instagram, she goes absolutely ghost for a few days. But not before getting in touch with the crew to pick up cameras so they can get all this on film. Whilst all the girls are out and about supporting Ariana, Tom has this apology to post on his Instagram. Shall I read it? I'll give you a moment to read that because... So this was the response from Tom. I know what you're all thinking. Where is Ariana in that apology? Not even mentioned. Not even mentioned in that apology. All he's concerned about is protecting his business partner and bestie, Schwartz, and his restaurant. I mean, I know there's a lot of money invested in this place, but that's going to be your first statement. People aren't concerned about your bar immediately, girl. People aren't immediately concerned about your bar, okay? They want to know what the fuck you've just done to your girlfriend. People aren't immediately like, oh my god, the bar. No. They're thinking of Ariana, which is way more than that you can say that you've done. What is surprising about this message is that he's mentioned Tom Schwartz twice by name, which is really interesting considering that the woman he has had a 6-month affair with, Raquel, also has been having a flirtation with his best friend the last year. You know when Katie really didn't want there to be hookups within the friend group, but then he went against anyway and started trying to get with Raquel? It's a bit sick now knowing that Scandoval and Raquel were having a 6-month affair the whole time. How much of that did Schwartz know? How much of it was he a decoy to avert from the fact that Scandoval was actually the one having an affair with Raquel? Because they did make out on screen like once or twice or something. So even worse is, Schwartz wants to maintain a friendship with Katie, but you're gonna go and make out with one of the girls in the friendship group, even though she specifically asked you not to, if you want to maintain a friendship. It's just sick and gross and disgusting. Part 3, the devil's in the details. So what we knew prior to the 3-part reunion of Vanderpump Rules Season 10 was that they alleged they had started around August last year, and there was whispers that had actually gone down at Coachella, which is a lot earlier than August. People suspected it was Schwartz making it with Raquel, but there was sources that claimed it was actually Scandoval. There were also multiple sightings of Scandoval and Raquel on a double date vacation at Big Bear with Schwartz and this woman he was seeing with Joe. What was also discovered was that they were both wearing lightning bolt necklaces as kind of like an ode or a little wink to each other. Sick. Disgusting. It was also suspected that when Ariana was away or in another room, they would sleep with each other in the same house. In hindsight, a lot of the cast members did find it suspicious when Raquel would show up to a lot of the Tom Scandoval and the Most Extras cover shows, and she would be filming, dancing, having a great time in the crowd, but no posts were made. And Sheena later on goes on to say that she found it odd that she would always turn off her location after a night out from Tom Scandoval's and the Most Extras shows. Cover your tracks, girlie. Cover your tracks. Just so everyone knows, after the news dropped, all of this happened within the next couple of days/weeks. What immediately happened was, obviously, Sheena gets sent a restraining order from Raquel based on this hit or fight that happened at the back of Watch What Happens Live. A lot of people at the time believed she filed that restraining order to try and get out of having to do the 3-part reunion for season 10 of Vanderpump Rules, so she wouldn't have to face her consequences. She put out a statement apologizing for the situation. When that did not get received well, she immediately fired that PR team and rehired a new one, and then that didn't go over well smoothly as well. So obviously here we have Raquel's staged paparazzi shots looking a little bit worse for wear. Then we have a bruised eyebrow and I can't even get it out because it's just ridiculous in my opinion. It's obviously just such a walking PR disaster, and clearly they never intended for this information to come out because this is just messy. Speaking of PR disaster, Schwartz went on Watch What Happens Live whilst other episodes of Vanderpump Rules were airing and the news had broke, and it was really, really hard to watch, to say the least. Has this man ever had a lick of media or PR training in his life? We may never know. Doesn't seem like it. What he does reveal is that he found out in August about a one-night stand and promised that it was the last time from his bestie Scandoval, and then found out in January that the affair had continued. He then apparently was really hard on Scandoval, trying to get him to reveal to Ariana. What makes the whole Schwartz of it a little bit more difficult to swallow as well is the fact that, yes, he is best friends with Scandoval, but he also had Ariana as one of his groomsmen in his wedding to Katie. He had a relationship with Ariana as well. They had a friendship. Maybe behind the scenes he was just like, Scandoval, you've got to tell Ariana. Scandoval, you got... But let's be real. Let's be real. Can you imagine him doing that? I can't. And also, if you found out about it January, what happened about this whole like end of December, early Jan, Big Bear trip, You were there for a Big Bear trip, so don't say you didn't know everything because you did know more than you're letting on. Something's not clicking, Steven.
What's not clicking, Steven?
They're not clicking. Timeline's not matching. Then we have Scandoval going on the Howie Mandel podcast, and if anyone who's been watching it saw that drop at the time, it was so hard to watch. I personally haven't even watched it this day because I physically cannot get through that interview. Turns out that there is some kind of relationship between someone who works on Howie Mandel's podcast and one of the bandmates of Tom's band, and basically one stipulation about them having a podcast episode was that he could not be pressed for any details he didn't want to go on. He couldn't get any backlash. Like, that is literally one of the conditions to the podcast. Sick. If you want to feel some rage, maybe watch the first 5 to 10 minutes, but I honestly couldn't get through it because Howie Mandel knows nothing about Vanderpump Rules. He didn't do any research at all and is basically just agreeing with everything that Scandoval says without having even 1% of the information. It is so hard to get through, so actually don't do that to yourself. Save yourself. But also what made me not want to watch that podcast was some of the things he was saying about Ariana was actually quite painful, just even as just a woman and someone who cares about mental health. It's quite disgusting, some of the things he's saying. He blamed his cheating on their lack of intimacy, as if it doesn't take two to tango and two to have intimacy issues and resolve those issues. Talking about how revealing intimate details about her mental health. He just went really dark and really below the belt and revealed things that you should never reveal about someone to save himself. You would think for someone who's done something so dark to such a lovely person and someone who is their partner and lover and confidant for 9+ years would have more respect for you than to reveal those informations to a stranger. It's disgusting. What, so you can try and save face? Howie Mandel's not even giving you any pressure. None. It's just disgusting. It repulses me. All whilst Ariana hasn't said a freaking thing. Whilst the majority of the show is going on, she has not done anything. She does pick up her Instagram again, but she does not do any sit-down interviews until, I believe, the finale episode airs. What we do see throughout the remaining course of the episodes for season 10 are hints and inklings towards a Raquel and Scandoval affair. You can see a closeness forming, a flirtation. They are asked about their relationship with each other, and Scandoval heavily denies it by other cast members, and it's just... the face he makes when he's blatantly lying to camera is so... makes you sick. Some great memes that leading up to the finale were instances where people had taken Tom Scandoval gaslighting Kristen in the early seasons and now applying it to things he said in the Howie Mandel podcast about Ariana. Get some new material, babe. Come on. Let's keep up, okay? We gotta change things over. This is also a 40-year-old man, by the way. A 40-year-old man. So throughout the course of season 10, you not only see flirtations between Tom Scandoval and Raquel, like hints of it. You also see Scandoval start creating lifeless arguments with Ariana, saying that she's not a good girlfriend. I'm sorry, anyone who's watched the show can attest Ariana is a very, very, very supportive girlfriend when she has a lot of reasons not to. Like, a lot of girlfriends could be very heavily embarrassed by some of the shit you do. Okay, let's just get that straight. From taking out your mother's retirement money to fund your cover band. Hello. For wanting to go out every day of the week and just, you know, get plastered. For saying that you want to take shrooms and watch the sunrise. Dude, you're 40 years old, okay? And she was still loving you and respecting you and supporting you through all of that. But regardless, what we see throughout the show are multiple conversations with Schwartz and Scandoval where he's trying to make out that she's a bad girlfriend and no one believes you, bro. And even Schwartz, sorry bro, your acting is not good as well. It's actually very, very hard to watch. So we finally get to the 3-part reunion and honestly, it is a bloodbath. James Kennedy and Lala just going for the jugular are both Raquel and Scandoval, and then you have Ariana who's finally speaking her truth and going out saying it like it is. So some of the standout moments from the reunion first has to be when Scandoval breaks down in tears.
I just want to thank everybody for being
Pull yourself together, man. This isn't a...
You're not a victim.
You're not at the
You're not
a victim.
It's a sad act of evil.
Saying how happy he is that everyone was there for Ariana.
James, stop it.
He needs to take another acting class because that was not good. The funniest thing is everyone jumped on him after that because no one believes a word that he's saying. And he clicks stuff just like that.
I appreciate everybody for being there for Ariana.
Every apology he then makes on from there on out has conditions. I'm sorry, but like, no. He cannot take responsibility or accountability for anything else that he's done. And then he goes on to lie that saying that Ariana had called him dumb, kept putting him down. Bro. Obviously, you're not in the relationship, I'm not in the relationship, but from what other people have said who have been close to their relationship, that seems to be completely untrue. And aside from that, his comments that he's made on the reunion have been absolutely disgusting. Let's name a few. He tries to justify the affair by saying that there was no malicious intent. What intent was there? Because it certainly wasn't friendly, certainly wasn't polite. This was personally just a cringe one. James pees like a dog on a fire hydrant and that's his fire hydrant. What? Was that English? What does that mean? It was meant to be some sort of dig in response to James's "you're a worm with a mustache," but ooh, didn't land, didn't even close to land. It's still up in the air. It actually never hit ground. And then we get into some really dark quotes. So there is one circulating online right now where he said, yeah, she kept her shirt on, which was during sex, and it was really hot. If women didn't hate you around the world before, they sure as shit do now. And then the last one is so out of pocket, and it really just is a testament to his character. Shut up, Lala. You got your IUD out the day you found out Stacy's pregnant. I'm no psychologist or therapist or any of the above. He really does have behavioral traits that I would associate with narcissism. People who have watched the show know that he's also had this weird thing over Stacy, weird jealousy over Stacy, because Stacy was the most popular character from the show for many, many years. Him saying this comment, who thinks that way except for someone who's jealous of someone like that? He's even been super jealous of his own girlfriend in the past for like a book deal. He's shown instances where he's not happy for her successes because it should be his success. There really could be a 3-part series on Scandoval. We all have to have a life, don't we, at the end of the day? But we'll go on to Raquel now. So Raquel, there is a running kind of joke, I might say, on the show that she has nothing upstairs. Nothing's working in that brain of hers. This has been shown many times on the show.
Calls me stupid. Yeah. Like, do you think I'm stupid?
No, Raquel, no.
But I think what everyone has gathered after watching the part 3 of the reunion is that she seems very lost, might need some mental health evaluating, because the lack of emotion that was on her face during her portion of the reunion was troubling, to say the least. Scandoval would get upset when it had to do with firing digs against him. Raquel was almost motionless. There was no reaction, nothing happening behind her eyes. She could barely get a sentence, but when she did, it was very shaky, and obviously she was high anxiety and pressure. But she is a bit of an enigma to me, because I do not understand what her thought process was during the whole affair and her lack of remorse, it would seem, during the entire reunion. She did mention the words, "I'm sorry, I feel guilty, I feel bad, I'm ashamed," but there definitely seemed to be a lack of feeling behind every word that she said. When someone says they're sorry but they don't show it, that's kind of what was the general gist of what was happening with her at the reunion. What has become more of a concrete fact, I would say, throughout the course of Scandoval and three-part reunion is that Raquel's relationship with women really is dangerous and needs to be evaluated, because the only time she really showed emotion or upset during the third part reunion was when James said that his new girlfriend Ali was an upgrade. So not only did she pursue a flirtation with Schwartz, even though she knew it would upset Katie, she then went on to have a 7 to 6 month affair with Scandoval, even though she is best friends with his partner. Then she gets upset by the fact that ex-fiance claims that his new girlfriend is hotter than her, which is the only time she shows any emotion throughout the course of the reunion. Her relationship with women needs to be evaluated. Because if you see women as competition your whole life, I'm sorry, you're always going to be disappointed. This is also evidenced earlier on the season of Raquel saying that, oh well, Lala's just upset because I stole her man. From what I've witnessed, I think she has a serious issue with her female friendships and wanting to be number one woman to any man in the vicinity. Now, throughout the course of the three-part reunion, we've been teased this new secret that's going to be revealed in the last 5 minutes of the episode of the final part reunion that is just going to blow everyone's mind and be crazy. The most mind-blowing part was the fact that Raquel was actually crying, personally. Raquel was crying because she now feels really bad about how she's been holding all of these secrets in. She's been lying about the timeline to save Scandoval. The affair started after a boys' night on the show, and then it was actively still going on strong during Sheena's wedding in Mexico, multiple times. Then it continued further when Ariana's grandmother died and she had to leave town for the funeral. Raquel was over at their house. Your friend is grieving the loss of her grandmother, and you decide to have sex with her boyfriend in her home. The details are really sick. I can see why my emotion to this would feel really detached by now. I feel like it's just consumed my life for such a long time, and it truly repulses me and just saddens me that this is what humans can do to each other. It's just so dark. It's so dark. It's just twisted. It's disgusting. And I really, really, really feel for Ariana. But in a way, I do think she is forever changed by this experience. She may never trust as much as she did beforehand, but you know, the fact that she is thriving, she's getting sponsorship, she's getting deals, she is getting a lot of monetary value and gain from this whole scandal, which is such a blessing for her. One, Sandoval would absolutely hate the fact that she's getting so much attention. He would absolutely hate the fact. Two, she can now finally move out of that home, hopefully sell it, because during the whole process, Sandoval would not leave. He refused to leave during the entirety of this scandal because he owns this house as well. I really hope I'm painting the picture of what kind of guy this Sandoval is, because it's disturbing. I also do feel like, and I think a lot of people do share this opinion, the only reason that Raquel came forward with the real timeline at the end of the third part reunion was because Sandoval had created some distance, but he also knew that she didn't really have anyone to go to. So in a way, she is kind of trapped by her relationship because the only person she really had left besides her family is Sandoval. I am pretty happy that she decided to reveal that information, and I hope she is getting help because I clearly think she needs it. But the real evil of this whole situation is 100% Sandoval. The real evil is him. He was the one in the relationship. He was the one that acted out of spite of his girlfriend's mental health struggles, not only her grandmother passing away, also her childhood dog passing away, and then to blame it on her intimacy problems and the fact that they weren't being intimate with each other. It's just disgusting. It's so disgusting, it's repulsing. Like, I know at the end of the day, no one died. Well, Ariana's grandmother died. He didn't kill anyone. I know he's not like a murderer, is what I'm trying to say, but the lack of remorse and empathy for someone that you built your life around for 9 years is so upsetting and disturbing. And he will never understand. He will never get it. Even Schwartz, he recently did an interview with an ex-cast member, Jax and Brittany, and he is finally coming to terms with, actually, I don't think Scandoval has been a very good friend to me. Never thought we'd see the day that those two would be at odds, but you know. I don't even know where to go from here because it's just so sad, and I'm so sorry to end on a bad note. But if you did not know about Vanderpump rules beforehand, I hope you feel more informed now. Now you can know what's happened if you were to jump into any conversation. But I do recommend at least watching season 10 in the reunion. It was very, very good. I've been here from the very early days, so that's why I have all of this in my mind. And I think it really is the law of Vanderpump rules that really makes this scandal so enticing, intense, diabolical, honestly. Regardless, everyone support something about her. Everyone support Ariana. Everyone support Katie. She was my standout from this season. Support Lala, Sheena. She's on the right side of history, thank the Lord. And of course, James and Ali. Hello. At the end of the day, Scandoval isn't a murderer. He is someone that has narcissistic traits. I'd be so happy if I never ever had to hear about this man ever again in my life. So maybe once this is all done, I won't have to. That'd be nice. That'd be really nice, because I do feel a bit detached from the whole situation now that I've got it off my chest. Hopefully this is my first and last video on Scandoval, but thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe because I have a lot more videos up my sleeve. Hope you liked this one. Thank you kindly. Bye.
You're a worm with a mustache.
My cards.